Hi, how are you? I'm Dr. William Gallego, and this is the first show, actually the second show that we're doing about mental health, specifically lifecology, which is my neuroscience method of healing any type of addictions and mental health problems. I want to introduce Mr. General.
Well, I am the general, otherwise Erwin Raymer from the show Tank, and look for us possibly in the summer of 2020 for new episodes, and looking forward to it. And I'm here, I'm glad to see the professor here, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about on this show about addictions and mental health. There is a huge problem in the United States and all around the world with depression, anxiety, and drugs and alcohol, and even behavioral addictions, which is like gambling over here. And then with the addictions comes depression, comes anxiety, comes obsessive compulsive disorders. There is a lot of kids now because they legalize marijuana in every state, most of the states of the United States. Now the kids are thinking it's a plan, there is no consequences, but they don't know that the THC, there is a chemical that is good, the CBDs, but they haven't been able to separate them. And the THC is the one that causes all kinds of problems with the immune system, with the memory, their their motivation. They lose motivation and all kinds of problems. And now does they're starting doing other drugs like crystal meth or cocaine, and some people get hooked and some others don't. You know, that's the difference. Like we were talking earlier that you say I'm not addicted to anything. In my case, I got addicted to anything. I'm not only to drugs and alcohol, but I easily can get addicted to any other substance, to any other anything that I like, any behavior.
Well, I hope you don't like me by the end of the show.
No. Don't worry about that. I might like your money, but so because this is what happened in the brain. It's important that people understand what happened in the brain. Any addiction, including gambling, sex, or substances, the brain releases dopamine. Dopamine are the neurotransmitters that has to do with the pleasure. When you're going through life having stress, having financial problems, having problems at home, then you're trying to find a solution. And the only solution that you can find is the drugs or the gambling or the sex, because you, in a way, you're medicating yourself with the addiction until you get to a point that you become an addict, and then you're going to continue losing control because it's like a fixed idea. There's a part of you that wants to stop because of all the consequences, but there is another powerful part of you that's trying to convince you so that you can continue. And there is a huge denial system, and that's the problem that I see here in the United States, that you can put anybody in recovery against their will. They only hold them for 3 days or 1 week or 2 weeks, and that doesn't work, because when someone is a severe addict, they have to put them against their will, even if they don't want to, because their brain is polluted with all these drugs and they're not capable to understand anything. They don't see the consequences. What happens in the brain also is that they go into survival. When your brain is telling you that you need to do it no matter what, that you need to survive, that's all you can think of it. So in a way, it's a form of possession. You will become a criminal. You do anything to continue using because the drug is controlling your brain. So, and I know that we had a little bit of debate here because you think there is more power of will and than a disease.
In some degree, I do. I know people that are narcissistic, and I'm glad you talked about mental health, because the reality is that I have people, because I've traveled the world, I have friends and different people that I know and associate with that are addicts. Whether they discuss with me that they are addicts, but you can see some of them are gamblers, some of them are druggies, some of them are alcohol, some of them are all three. Some of them lose control over everything, and some people that are narcissistic want control over everything. They don't realize what they're doing to other people. So sometimes they need mental health and they need medication, they need guidance, and that's why I came on the show to discuss all of these things with you. And what do you think about the narcissistic person that never wants to take blame for anything, and is always right, and he wants to project his thoughts on everybody, whether they're right or wrong.
Yeah, the problem with someone that has narcissistic personality is that they're usually antisocial also, which means they don't take responsibility for anything. So even if the parents will take them to therapy and they will tell them, hey, you need help because you're drinking too much or because of your behavior, they're like, no, I don't have any problems. My problem is my family. My problem is someone else. So they're not capable to see the consequences. And then they're antisocial because they don't care about feelings, about emotions. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about the people that they've been hurting, because the problem with an addict is that it's not only them, it's all around, it's the whole family, because they have feelings towards them. They're suffering also, and they don't know what to do because they're seeing how this person is destroying themselves with all these chemicals, all these drugs. They're even hearing voices already. They're hallucinating. They can't sleep. If they use crystal meth, they can't sleep for days. They develop other mental health problems until they overdose, and nobody can help them. So the family is suffering, but the narcissistic is also dangerous for any relationship, because some of them like to abuse others and they enjoy abusing others. So if you end up with a narcissistic, either man or a female, you're in danger, because these people will never take responsibility. You are the problem. They always find somebody to blame, but they're selfish. They're so selfish, their ego is so inflated that they're not capable to change because they don't take any responsibility. So that's a personality problem. Usually the narcissists come from dysfunctional families where they were abandoned and betrayed, like people in history that were like Adolf Hitler. If you know the story of Adolf Hitler, he was abused, he was beat up, and then somebody's gonna have to pay. I mean, they're antisocial. This is like psychopaths. They will hurt people and they enjoy it, and they're not capable to change. So when I'm counseling a couple and I see that either the female or the guy is narcissistic, I tell them, you know what? They're not going to change. So it's up to you. There's only two choices. You either adapt to them, accept them how they are, or leave them. Because they're not going to change.
So you're saying to me that there's no drugs, there's no counseling for a narcissistic person to change?
It depends on the level of narcissistic. Everything in mental health has level. Is mild, moderate, or severe. Now, if they're severe, there's not much you can do because they don't take any responsibility. You can try to show them, but look at the consequences. Look at everybody saying that you have this behavior, that you're using drugs, but they continue in denial. So it's very difficult because the only person that can change is you, and that's if you want to. But if you don't want to change, nobody's going to make you do it. But now, if you're an addict, the problem with addicts is that they're still in denial also, but they're killing themselves. So the only way out is take him out of the game. Take the drugs from them because they're not capable to stop on their own. That's why it's called higher level of care. That's why they need intensive outpatient, not just like going to meetings or 12 support. That doesn't work. You need to take the drugs from them. You need to put them in a place, even if it's against their will. I have two nephews. I have people, and I have a clinic in Mexico where the law allows me to put people against their will. Yeah, they're going to be angry with the parents and with everybody the first 2 months. But most of them, I guarantee, after 3 months, they're grateful. They're like, you know what? They saved my life, and I'm grateful that they saved my life.
Well, what stops one person from going, let's say, to your clinic for 3 months, and then realizing at that moment that yes, they were addicts, they were addicted to drugs, they stopped for 3 months, and now all of a sudden they come back into society, they leave your clinic, and all of a sudden, like you said before, to me, if you had 1 glass of wine, you go right back to it. What stops them from going back to it and saying, let me just try it one time. Let me just have 1 glass of wine. Let me just throw the dice one time. Let me play blackjack one time. Let me take some heroin. Now, the only thing that I might disagree a little bit is in regards to marijuana. Social smokers of marijuana are social smokers of marijuana. I don't believe that if they smoke, that it's an addiction. If you took that marijuana away from the person, I don't believe that they're addicted. like if you have heroin or you have narcotics, I believe that there's a possibility that you take and you have a good feeling about marijuana, that all of a sudden somebody might turn around and say, well, if you like marijuana and you get that kind of a high, how would you like to go higher? And going higher, okay, take some crystal meth, okay, take some ecstasy, take some heroin, take pills. Now I see it all over Las Vegas, okay, and unfortunately, I'm not happy about it, but you have to live with it, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's just acquaintances. And all I know is that in this town, the 72-hour rule is not a good rule, because they put you in for 72 hours, they take you out, and you don't want to go for help. You're back to the same situation again.
No, that doesn't work. And then even if they put you in jail without any treatment, it's not going to work. Now, my treatments are not 3 months. My treatments is minimum 6 months to a year, because all the research shows that I need 6 months to clean your brain, to talk about the consequences, to explain to you what's going on in your mind. Why the only thing that works is total abstinence, nothing else. So they need to learn that they can drink, that the first drink is the one that developed the compulsion. They need to know the consequences. They need to know that they're different than everybody else. They need to know that they're like people that they cut out their legs. It's not going to grow again. I understand that. I've been clean and sober for many years, and I understand that principle. I don't want to go to hell, but unfortunately, they need to reach baton. They need to reach a baton of consequences. And the problem with the parents is that they become enablers. Oh, it's my baby. Well, let him suffer, because if they don't suffer, they're not going to change. Now, when my mom threw me out of the house, and when I end up in the streets, that's when I realized that I had to change. Otherwise, they don't want to hero baton, and if they don't hero baton, they don't want to change. And the problem in the United States is that the law doesn't allow anybody to put them against their will. Now, if I have a son who is an addict, I put him in my clinic against their will because I want to save their lives. I need to save their life, because if they're doing drugs like crystal meth, like heroin, at any time they can overdose. Now, in regards to marijuana, you could be social, and if you're social, like if you're a social drinker, no problem, because you can stop at any time.
Correct.
And that's okay. I'm social in regards to the food. I'm not a food addict, so I can, I receive the message from my brain that I'm full. With the addict, you don't get that message. With the addict, all you hear is like, I want more, I want more. I used to be a blackjack dealer, and I can see the difference between an alcoholic and a normal person. The alcoholic is the one that they can even walk, and they continue saying cocktails, cocktails, and everybody will tell them, but you're drunk, you can't even walk. No, but they don't see it. They're drunk, but they don't see it. Now, the person that does it, that is social, when they feel like a little bit lost, they stop. They're like, no, I want water. I don't want any more chocolate. There's a difference, but the problem with addicts is that the message, we have receptors and transmitters. The message doesn't go to the other side. So your brain, you're all drunk, but your brain doesn't know it. So, and that's a problem, because you're killing yourself. My only brother, I only have one brother, he died of cirrhosis in the liver and pancreatitis because of drinking. He was a functioning alcoholic. He would get up at 5 in the morning and go to work, but every day he will drink at least 24 hours of beer. 24 beers. So eventually he will damage his liver. So, and that's a problem, because a lot of people are functioning alcoholics, but they still can die, and they can cause a lot of problems. But some people, they become violent when they drink, or some people, and they become depressive. Do you know that alcohol is a depressant also? Sure. So it comes with all these mental health problems. Now, crystal meth, the last research that was about crystal meth, 70% of the people that use crystal meth, they develop schizophrenia and psychosis. Eventually, they start thinking that they're going to save the world, or they're Jesus, or something. They get out of reality, and they start hearing voices and seeing things that are not real, and that's because of the damage in the brain due to these drugs. And it's sad, because it's highly addictive. People are dying. The government is not doing anything about it. In my clinic, we charge very little compared to because it's in Mexico, and but my intention is not just money. My intention is to save their lives.
Isn't it, doc? It's also genetic sometimes, not all the time because of the drugs.
There is three predispositions, which means there is no any specific to becoming an addict. You have the genetics, yes. They found some enzymes in the blood of addicts just them have it. Like when they open up their brain, they found this enzyme, which you don't have it because you're not an alcoholic. But anybody that have that enzyme is connected to alcohol or to drug. As soon as you try, you get hooked. That's why some people try something, they get hooked. When it comes to opiates, for example, anybody can develop an addiction within 2 weeks. Anybody, even if you're not an addict. But there is a genetic predisposition. If it's a family history, you might have it in your genes, which means my kids can develop addictions. But now, that predisposition in conjunction with emotional problems, if you come from a dysfunctional family, divorce, if they are aggressive towards each other, then that's another predisposition, having emotional problems. And that's actually the main predisposition. Anybody that had poverty, that where their emotional needs were not met, they have more tendencies to become addicts because the addiction will help them to medicate their feelings. They don't know how to deal with the stress, with the anger, with the depression, and they start trying something and they'll be like, oh, this is good. So I want to continue. So every time they feel something that they don't like emotionally, they go back to the marijuana or the alcohol or the behavior. Now the other predisposition is the environment. Everybody, we live in an environment where everybody drinks and everybody smokes. Here in Nevada, everybody smokes weed. And it's like, you think it's normal. You know, in my family, there was a funeral, they were drinking. There was something in the church, they was drinking. When someone is born, they get drunk. When someone dies, they get drunk. For every reason, so it becomes normal. And then my parents used to give me, my father used to give me drinks when I was 6 years old. My dad was an alcoholic also. And he died not only of alcoholism, but he died of depression. So, because I seen people that I love in my life dying, that's why I opened up this clinic in Tijuana, in the border of San Diego, and I'm doing the treatments in Spanish and English, females and males, but I separate them, because otherwise going to be an orgy there. You need to separate it. But in the groups, we talk about everything. We talk about anger management. We talk about stress management. We talk about the disease, what happened to the brain. And we prepare them. You had a good question that what would you do with them after they get out? We tell them that you need, once you become an addict, you're always going to be an addict. So you need to be in treatment for the rest of your life. But non-professional treatment, which is the 12 steps. The 12 steps is being around all the world. And then you don't have to pay for that. You just go to the meetings, you talk about whatever feelings you have, you talk about the consequences, and they remind you by someone else's story, they remind you of your suffering. That can help you if you develop a good relationship with a higher power, which is a good thing because you don't have to be religious, and the analyzing you personally, getting to know who you are. All these can help you. So my intention is to save people's lives, and that's why I'm doing it. When I work with the corporate insurance of American Group at that time, now is Blue Cross Blue Shield, I saw a lot of people dying, young people dying of overdoses, and the government were not doing anything. They put them in a hospital for only a week because it costs $2,000 a day. So the insurance cannot afford it, and I seen these people, 19, 20 years old, dying of overdoses, drinking themselves to death. And I'm like, I need to do something. And I came to do in the United States. That's why I opened up a clinic in Mexico, which is very affordable. I only charge less than sometimes like just like $1,000 a month. That includes detox, that includes medication. If there's someone that can afford it, then they pay a little bit more for their own room. If not, we have to put them in someplace else. It's not a really fancy place. Actually, you don't want to put them in a fancy place because you got it. They have such a ego. Their ego is so inflated. And it's like taking them to vacation. No, they need to realize that they're killing themselves and that they're hurting a lot of people. So addiction is powerful, is diagnosed by the World Health Association as a disease and curable progressive disease. Just because I've been clean and sober for so many years, doesn't mean I'm cured. I rather think that I'm still in recovery. I still go to meetings. I love to help people, and I don't forget where I'm coming from. I don't forget that my people died because of it. So I have a war against drugs and alcohol, and I see everybody as equal. I don't care who you are, if you're black, if you're, I don't care. If you want to stop, let me help you. But even if they don't want to stop, the parents can take him over there to Mexico for vacation, and I will take care of them.
Well, I'll tell you, everybody should have an experience like I did as a youngster. I was basically 13 years old. I was at a party. And while I was at the party, I wanted to impress this little girl. So I took an 8-ounce glass, just what the glass that you have in your hand, and I filled it with ice, and I bet somebody $5 that I could drink an 8-ounce glass of scotch. Well, I filled it up with ice, figuring that how much scotch could there be? It was probably about 3 ounces of scotch when I finished. The end result is I downed the 3 ounces of scotch. But don't forget, I was 13 years old. I was basically about 155 pounds. And after a while, I would say 3-4 hours, it hit me. Back in the day, when people would walk home, no problems, okay? Everybody went north, I was walking south. And all of a sudden, I hit a parking meter, my groin, wow, what a wake-up call. Then I fell. I ripped my pants. Then I fell again. I hit my head on a tree. I got home. I held the porcelain god, which is the toilet, if you don't know what the porcelain god is. And all I can tell you is I said, please, I want to die. That's how sick I was.
Right.
That was the first and the last time I ever drank. If everybody had an experience like that, they would never drink.
You
As
become
far as-
emotional. You become emotional.
But remember that addicts, they don't grow up saying, I want to become an addict when I grow up. They never say that. You know, addiction is a progressive disease. Little by little, you know, when I was 13 years old, I didn't have problems. I could stop. But when I was already 16, I couldn't stop. I had to drink. I was so upset that I couldn't stay clean or without drinking for more than 5 days.
Really?
Or for more than 3 days. Then it becomes like I had to do it every day. So in my case, I was so young, and it was too intense. It progressed too much compared to other people. So I didn't want that life, and then I had more consequences until my family couldn't deal with me. So it's a disease like everybody else. The problem with society is that you're an addict, you're an alcoholic, and you're trash, you know? They don't understand that these are sick people. Just like if someone has cancer in your family, they're like, oh, everybody get together, let's donate some money, let's help them, let's find other treatments. But when he's an addict, it's like, oh no, it's bad for society, he's a criminal. And this is some people that one day, they were somebody and they lost everything. Do you know when I was working in addictions, I saw people with PhDs that lost everything, that they were CEOs of companies and they lost everything, they lost family and everything, highly intellectual people.
I've interacted with a lot of different people in a lot of different situations. I remember seeing a movie, The Man with the Golden Arm, which was with Frank Sinatra. It was about a heroin addict and how he got clean. I would recommend that should be shown in every school to see what they went through, to see what he went through, the withdrawal, and they tied him up and for days and days and days and days. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Now, when I moved out to Las Vegas, I became an owner builder. I built a 12,000 square foot home, and I went down to D Street here in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if you even know what D Street is, but D Street, you have all the alcoholics, you have all the druggies. I went down with a van every day and picked up the same 10 guys. And I said, if I smell alcohol in your breath, if I see that you're drugged out, you're screwed up, I will not take you and you're done forever. I changed the life of those 10 people. They owned businesses, they went on, they got married, they did different things. The reality is you gotta care. I would rather be a giver than a taker. I've done that for my whole life. And if I'm addicted to something, I'm addicted to giving as opposed to addicted to taking. And I live a very, very good life. But I think people have to be aware of what they see and how to help people. And you know, whether you're a narcissist, whether you're a druggie, whether you're a gambler, whether you're alcohol, the parent, the wife, These are the sufferers. And I've seen it all, believe me, and friends and family and everything. All I want to do is help people. Now, in your clinic, okay, let's just say somebody is a street person, can't afford it, and let's just say I met him. What could you do for somebody that has nothing? How does he get to your clinic? I mean, the reality is, if I had a situation, I really became fond of somebody, would I send them? I would send them. I would say, all right, look, you know what, I want to clean you up. But in the end result, I think about it, you help, you help, you help. There's two words that I expect from people: appreciation and respect. Unfortunately, the addict, no matter what it is, they're always an addict, like you said, because they can come out one time and have one drink, they could have one toss of the dice, or they could play cards or gamble. I mean, I just see it all, and all I want is to have it alleviated, but I don't think that there's an alleviation of it. You can help them, but they have to learn to help themselves, realize they have a product, whether it's a narcissist or an addict. I think they need counseling. I need group therapy. I think that that would help a lot of people. And if they had a hospital, my son came up with an idea of having an addiction hospital put up. And if there was enough philanthropists that were out there that would put some money together and make a hospital like that, maybe they would find a cure for some of these things or prevent it in some of the teenagers that are coming up, because things are worse than ever. Everybody knows that alcohol and tobacco are bad for you, okay? Because tobacco, you have lung cancer. My wife, may she rest in peace, died 18 years ago, okay, from lung cancer. I said, honey, I said, are you gonna give this life up for cigarettes? We went on vacation 18 weeks a year. We had a home in Vegas, Puerto Rico. We had a home in New York. She smoked. She says, I can't stop. I'm going to tell everybody, anything that you want to do, you can do. You just have to put your mind to it. And if you think about it, it's really true. Even the addict, you have to stop, because mentally and emotionally, you feel secure in yourself and you say, you know what, it's not good for me. I want to stop and I want to enjoy life. Because if you think that the addicts are enjoying their lives, I don't think so.
Well, the first step for recovery is to admit that you have a problem.
Correct.
And that your life is unmanageable, which means you cannot govern your own life. So, but if you're not humble enough to recognize that you're killing yourself and that you're killing your family, then nobody can help you. That's why I have some people in my clinic that are not paying anything. I had these parents, I talked to the kid, he told me, you know what, we don't have any money, but I'm willing, I'm tired of living like this. Those are the type of people that I want to help. But I had to pay the place, I had to pay the medical doctors, so because I'm not rich. Now, if I get with someone like you and other people that really care, that have compassion, that say, you know what, I will do this for someone, then that'll be great, you know, that will help me to keep the place open. All I want is to keep the place open, that's why I need to charge. But if I wouldn't be rich, I probably wouldn't charge. I probably will take the people, and like you say, the people that want the help. Not that the ones that they don't want, because you can't save everybody. There's people that, unfortunately, they're going to die because they're not willing to go through the treatment. So, but the people that are willing and that I'm helping for free are the people that told me, William, help me because I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of suffering and my family suffering, and I've had kids, and those are the people that I want to help. But I need help from other people also that have more compassion. Most people are not givers, they're takers. And they don't care, and they just don't care because they're narcissistic. Like, it's all about them. But I do believe that we're here for a reason, that we are in this world to make a difference. And I do believe, and that not talking about religion, but we have an opportunity to do something about it. And if we've been blessed like you and me, we should give. And some, you know, sometimes I stop working and everything, and I go over there to my clinic and I talk to them from the bottom of my heart, because you're right, they need individual therapy at least weekly. We have 2 groups every day, group therapy. with people who are licensed, and most of the employees that I have, they're addicts themselves that are in recovery. They have years of sobriety, so they understand where they're coming from. Then we have music therapy. We have a teacher of music so that they can learn to play the piano or whatever instrument. We have occupational therapy. We do exercise. We have meditation and yoga, things like that. So it's a pretty good place. But unfortunately, here in the United States, the law doesn't allow it. You have to go through all these programs that are controlled by the government, and they're just people continue dying and nobody's doing anything. So unfortunately, we had to open up places in other countries where they have laws that allow to put people against their will. Because I say it again, I said it before, but I say it again. If I have someone that I really care, I want to save their lives. And this is what I did with my nephews. They might be hearing me, but when they were 16 years old, they got into the gangs and they were doing every type of drugs. My sister called me desperate and she said, what am I going to do? They're just not changing and they continue getting high and then being disrespecting and they steal from mom and everything. Well, I took him to Mexico. I tell them, let's go to vacation. Of course, I didn't tell them. They were smoking a joint in the car. And I took him over there. I put him against their will for a year. And now they've been clean for years. For years. They changed their life. They saw the reality. And now I became their hero. They used to hate me. But like in my clinic, the first 3 months, I don't let the parents see them. Because they're really good manipulators. So now they want the choco meal and they want the cereal. No, you can talk to them. You need to earn that. After 3 months, I let you talk to the parents. But what happened is that even if it's against their will, they change. And I can bring over here, one day I'm going to bring people over here in the show that have been in my treatment and they've been clean and they were put over there against their will and to see how they change. They're connected to groups, to 12 steps. They're living a great life and they're enjoying life and they can tell you that their parents saved their life by putting them against their will. They were angry the first 2 months, but after that, they realized that they couldn't stop by themselves.
What's the percentage of people that you bring against their will, okay, that go to your clinic, that actually stay clean, as opposed to, because they were brought against their will, okay, wind up back in the street or back on drugs?
Well, I haven't measured it, but I have a pretty high percentage, but more than 70%. Okay. And let me tell you why. I work with their mind. I'm specialized in trauma. So I do all these things for any time. I go deep into their personality. What happened when you were a kid? Your mom really wanted you, or they got divorced, or the abuse that they've been through. So I analyze this personality, and I have this theory that I developed that is called life ecology, where I modify their memories. I go in there in their memories where they get stuck with that depression, with that sadness, with the feelings of fear, and I do a rescue, and we take the feelings, we neutralize these emotions so that the memory will close without the pain. Now let me tell you what I do with the pleasure, which is that they get from the drugs. I take him to where they were getting high. I take him to, not with the consequences, but they were really enjoying whatever drugs or alcohol, and then because they're willing to give it up, and they're like from 0 to 10, they're at 10. So now I take him out of that memory and I neutralize the positive emotions, so to detach the pleasure from their mind, so that they don't feel like they need to drink in order to be happy. So there is the same thing with gambling. If I'm working with someone who is an addict and they can't stop gambling, I take it first. I work with the consequences, all the consequences of the gambling or the drugs or alcohol, and then I take him to the first time that they won a jackpot. And in that memory, when they were so happy, I take him out of there and I neutralize those positive emotions. I work with the subconscious mind. It's called memory reconciliation. It's the best thing that comes from neuroscience to heal anything, because the problem with addicts and the reason why they don't stay clean is because the substance use disorder is just one disorder, but they have depression, they have anxiety, they have already schizophrenia, they are hallucinating. So you got to work with what is called dual diagnosis, with all these diagnoses. And most of the places, they're not successful because they only work with the addictions, but what leads them to continue getting high is their depression, because they get sad. Is their anxiety, because they don't know how to deal with situations in life. So you gotta work with and start fixing that personality that it was damaged in the mother's womb. So I do believe that addiction comes from trauma. And the main predisposition for anybody to become an addict is trauma, is suffering, is memories, painful memories. And you gotta go through all those painful memories to heal them, to modify those memories, to take the feelings away so that the memory will close by itself. It's a new technique, but I'm specialized in that. I'm going to be traveling to Spain. I'm going to be traveling to Mexico to bring my method there. That's where I have this book that is called Psychological Therapy of Subconscious Healing. This can heal, with this psychology, can heal any type of addiction and mental health problems. And I can guarantee it. Do you know any doctor that can guarantee the recovery? I can guarantee it because I have many people that are cured basically from addictions and behavioral problems and mental problems.
Well, I have a question, going back to narcissistic personality. Okay, when you have a person that blames everybody else, doesn't think that he's responsible for anything, and he creates a disturbance within the structure of his life and other people's lives, you know, I'm just thinking about it. Is there a possibility of going and filming various things that he does, whether it's in an office, whether it's home, whether it's a relationship between his wife, his children, his employees, his personal friends, and see what he's doing? And this way you have hours of various video of him, and then you bring it to his attention, and you say, look at what you did to your wife, look at what you did to your children, look at what you did to your friends, look at what you did to yourself. Now, what I'm interested in is, you say you guarantee mental health. I think that's quite a standing point of saying that, because it's very difficult to guarantee for somebody else, because you don't know the shortcomings of who they are, what they've done, how bad it is. But in a situation like this, do you think it would be advantageous to do that for somebody, and then bring these films in to somebody like you that has experienced all these things, and say, just look at what you did. You just blamed him because you didn't do this. If you would have done this, he would have done this, and it would have been no problem. What do you think we can do? Because I have several friends that are narcissistic, and I have a couple of people that are addicts. I don't think right now that they would want to go anywhere to Mexico to do anything, especially with this virus that's going on. I mean, I don't even know if they can have planes to Mexico, or you could actually drive.
You can drive, it's only 5 hours. But that's a good idea. It's called intervention. Sometimes we do that. It's called intervention. We got to do an intervention, psychological impact, where everybody gets together and they will tell them, hey, this is how you make me feel. This is how much you hurt me with your behavior. This is how much you hurt your dad, your mama. And everybody will talk about it so that this person wake up, basically. Because they're in denial. They're like, no, it wasn't me. Everybody's talking.
But does it come a point that that person denies it and said, no, it's not me? There's something that goes on in the brain that wants to make him right all the time.
Right.
I mean, I am right. When people ask me advice, if I don't know an answer, I'll tell you I don't know. But if I give you an answer, and I've given advice, I've given on mental health, I've given on gambling, I've given on drugs, I've given on alcohol. I've talked to people about everything and anything. And yet, if people listen, they make out. But you know what the problem is that I find in life? Is that people want to prove me wrong. So if I'm 99% right, they're looking for that 1% that I'm wrong. I've given parental advice. I've given marital advice. I've given business advice. I've given legal advice. But if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know. There's nothing wrong with you don't know. But what happens is they go after me, and instead of listening and trying, because if I'm wrong, I want to be wrong. You know why? If you're a gambler and you say, I want to bet the Giants, I said, no, bet the Yankees tonight because the Yankees are going to win. If I'm wrong and you're right, I'm happy. I'm not a gambler. You won. But if you're wrong, I'm not happy because of the fact that you lost and you lost your money. And I've given advice of these things, and I've experienced these things. But the problem is finding people that want help.
Yes.
Because they're in denial. And they say, I'm fine, nothing wrong with me. It's him, it's her. She's doing this, she's doing that, he's doing this. And they don't realize that everybody suffers.
Right, it's difficult. I mean, if you still moderate or mild, if you still have a chance to take responsibility, then we can work. But if you're totally in denial, then nobody can help you. That's why some people need to die for others to live. We can save everybody, but when I take the drugs from people and we start talking about feelings and emotions and the damage that you cause in the family and all this, now without the drugs, the brain starts cleaning it up, and you start seeing things differently. That's when you have an opportunity, and when you get to those hearts that are kind of cold and they don't get it, they start feeling empathy, they start feeling sadness because they realize all the consequences that they have in life and how much people suffer. So that's what I'm saying. But if you're willing, and if you're willing, is much easier. If you're not willing, it's much more difficult. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. But talking about the intervention, sometimes they need that. They need the parents to get together and let them know how much they're hurt because of their behavior. But if they're not willing to change, you need to stay away from them because they're going to continue hurting others.
But when you love somebody, and you care for somebody, and you see the family breaking up, and you see friends around them realizing what's going on, and you see your business affected, how do you penetrate that mind to get that person to at least say, I'll try? I'm at a loss because I have a friend that's in that position right now, and I just don't know what to do because I feel bad for the family.
It's called higher level of care. So the outpatient going to therapy once a week is not going to work. So you got to put them against their will. There goes again. They're not capable to change by themselves for whatever reason they have in the brain. So you got to take them out of the game, even if they hate you.
But here you can't do that.
It has to be
Take him to
isolation,
Mexico,
right?
take him
There's no way that you can do it today because that's the law. I mean, even if you had somebody, let's just say hypothetically, you had a person in your home, okay? You have a person in your home more than 2 weeks, okay? They're almost like legally there. So in order to get them out, the laws are more for the people that are in the home than the homeowner. So now you have to go and get a 30-day notice, and then they can appeal the 30-day notice, and even if you got the 30-day notice, then they give you a 5-day notice, and they can appeal things. It could take you two months to get somebody out. And what happens if they're dangerous? And what happens if they're violent? The end result is the person that's the nice guy is the sufferer. Where does the law justify the homeowner, okay, or the parent, okay, to take this suffering all the time?
Yeah, the laws, I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong because you should be able to put it. You see, all I need in Mexico, for example, all I need is anybody to sign. Doesn't matter who.
But that's Mexico. We're in Las Vegas.
But here in Las Vegas, there is not much you can do because the law protects the addicts and protects the people that are misbehaving. And you're right. In order for you to evict them, you got to go through the whole process. But you just got to be more careful. Don't allow just anybody in your home because then it's going to be difficult to take them out.
Well, don't you think that the doctors putting out these books like you put out, that you're healing and everything else, and you realize what the problems are, that maybe they could join together and make some kind of a program that they could go to the government and say to the government, listen, you're hurting people as opposed to helping the people. You're helping the criminals, you're helping the druggies, you're helping the alcoholic, even though the parents and the other people around them want to help. The laws prevent the help. So maybe they should do something to change some of the laws.
They should, and I believe but they don't want to invest anything. You see, at one point I was doing classes in CCDC, Clark County Detention Center, and then suddenly they said there is no budget. So they don't even spend 1% in education. So what good is it to put them in jail if they don't give them any training? if you don't prepare them for society. What happens is that they're going to go out and they're going to continue getting high and committing crimes because there is no recovery, there is no treatment. So why they don't invest any money in treatment? Well, because they don't care. I believe that they want people to die. So they don't care about human beings, and that's sad. But the laws doesn't help. So that's why I had to take my nephews, who they were born here, but I knew that if they stay here, they would be killed sooner or later because they were already young. So I had to take him out. And even if they're adults, I have adults over there. One of them, I'm going to bring it to Vegas. He was Mexican American, and the parents were desperate, and they actually paid very little because they couldn't afford it. I say, okay. And he was willing also. He was like, okay, yeah, I need help. So I took him on my own car and took him over there. And that happens already 9 months ago. He made a lot of changes. He's happy to come back. He has a kid. So I'm gonna go next week and bring him back, and I think he's gonna make it. He has a lot of chances because I already seen his recovery. He doesn't have any more panic attacks. He doesn't have depression. He's not suicidal anymore like before. So this is what you do. But you got it. The only choice that I had, because the law doesn't allow me here, is to take him out of the country. Now, if we get together, people that are willing to help, we can actually create something, and then probably the law might change or allow us to work with these people so that they can have a better opportunity.
What do you think of the idea of what my son said, of having an addiction hospital, a hospital just for addicts? I think it would be a wonderful thing, and I think that there's enough money around that's pissed away on variables, okay? And I think that would be a good idea. Now, I look at the hospitals. When you go to the hospital for a stay, all the prices are so inflated that it's absolutely ridiculous.
I think they have the facilities here already in Nevada, but it's not enough. They still need more for the addiction.
They only keep them in Monte Vista and this hospital only keep them mostly 2 weeks only.
2 weeks only.
In 2 weeks you don't do anything to an addict.
No, that's no good.
They need 6 months to a year. But who's going to pay for this? The government is not going to pay. The insurances are not going to pay. So we got to get together with people that are willing to donate, that people that have sons and family members that are addicts, to develop this hospital.
Do you think so? This is also add to the community. I mean, to the young generation. Now it's open. The drugs is there. You know, they have CBD. Now they have so many CBD stores. Is that also added to the young generation that become addicted?
But the CBD is not an addiction. It's not
marijuana.
It's a THC.
No,
Marijuana.
it's the THC, not the CBD. But I think that if somebody would if the government would scrutinize the hospitals and see what they're charging for an aspirin, see what they're charging for everything, and just look at it, take 10%, 20% of the money that they're charging $10 for an aspirin. It doesn't cost $10 for an aspirin. Okay, so if they took 20%, they took $2 for every aspirin, and you had 1 million aspirins, you have a couple $1 million. Well, the reality is that money should come from somewhere. We spend so much government spending. They want to put a wall up between Mexico and the United States for, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars.
What about the tunnels?
The reality is, where there's a will, there's a way. And if they want to get here, they're going to get here. Whether they're going to pay somebody off, whether they're going to go through the tunnels, whether they're going to go over the wall, I think it's absolutely absurd. But the reality is, it is what it is, and we have to live that way. And all I'm trying to do is help whatever I can do to help society.
The reality is that these hospitals charge $2,000 a day, and there is no limits, there is no law that they can charge whatever, there is no control, and that's why the people are dying over here. So we're worrying so much about immigration and all that, but the Americans are dying here of overdoses every day. And like Arielle said, so what happened to why the government is not doing anything about it? And I believe that they don't care. I do believe that they don't care. So we got to get together, some of us that have compassion and want to give, and maybe if we have enough people, then we can build this hospital. But we got to do it on our own, because I don't believe the government wants to donate anything. I don't think they want to do it. They would do it by now.
You know, I have an adage: if you don't ask, you don't get. So maybe if we get enough people around, with big wigs, and everybody donates a little something, maybe the government will match something.
Yeah, and I'm willing to work it. Since I specialize in addictions and in mental health, I'm willing to,
Oh my
to be
God,
an
isn't
employee.
that awesome?
So yes, we have to do something about it before we continue seeing all these people dying. And the problem with marijuana is that it's not just marijuana. The people that they're associating with is not they're not just smoking weed. They're like pills already. And you have other
Dr.
things.
Galeago, Erwin, let's go back to the thing that we should get together and build a hospital. Well, your show is coming up. Maybe there's some sponsor, bigger sponsor can give us, or we can get to the whole running candidate. There's so many candidates are running that can actually, donate some money, but some of them needed the money than us. So I think that's the most important there.
Non-profit, probably.
I think that it's going to take an added event, many events, to get the money donated by different people. But all I can tell you is people piss away hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've gone into the casino and I've seen it. I've seen them invest in different things. The stock market is taking a crash. People are losing a fortune right now. If you took just a portion of that fortune and you donated it, if they knew what was going on, they'd realize that this is a necessary thing, because addiction, whether it's gambling, whether it's drugs, okay, people go out there. And when they go out there, they steal, they rob, they do things because of that addiction.
Right.
There's burglaries. The insurance companies pay millions of dollars because people have been broken into from home to home to home. People have destroyed things. People have gotten into cars that are druggies, that have crashed into other people, paid millions of dollars because a lot of rich people, poor people get together and they smoke, they drink, they gamble, and the end result is that society has to change and want to change a little bit. Unfortunately, the youth today, I don't know. All I can tell you is when I was a kid, A, I didn't know about marijuana, B, I didn't know about pills, C, I didn't know about any kind of drugs, heroin, until I saw The Man with the Golden Arm. And when I saw that movie, that really affected me, because who would want to go with depression and the anxiety and tying you up and not eating and not doing like Frank Sinatra did? I think everybody should do that, or they should have some kind of an ability to put something on your arms or in your body, okay, just for maybe 10 minutes or an hour, that they could see what addiction does and how much it feels and what it feels like. I don't think anybody would go and start to do anything that would.
We can open up a non-profit organization and ask for grants, because there is this company that needs to donate and is for tax purposes.
I'm in. I know someone who can do the 501c3 for us.
I'm willing to help. Listen,
Okay,
I'm willing
let's
to
do
help
it.
and donate my time. I've gone down a couple of times where they feed people. I was the counter just a couple of weeks ago. They gave me a counter. They fed 628 people. After I said, wow, that's a lot of people.
Well, we're doing that already. Being as a vice president of the Lions Club, we do that from time to time. But we need to be able to create better than that, because if everybody nonprofit organization feeding these people, then what about the hospital that we're thinking about, that we can help the government to put these addicted people that they cannot get some help? They're just in the street running around.
That's why we develop a business plan, and then we show the people that have the money they need for the community, and to say these people are not criminals, but when they go into survival, they become criminals, because the drug is like a possession, is controlling their mind. Good people, good employees, smart people, CEOs of companies are dying of overdoses and nobody's doing anything. I mean, unfortunately, what I'm doing is taking them out of the country to another country that allows me to save their lives. Why they're not doing anything over here? We need
Philippines also,
create
as
something.
Mexico, Philippines is the best for these people, because Duterte, he's not allowing people to take drugs. If you take drugs and they find you, they actually help them. They have the activities, they dance, they exercise, they also study, the authority also put that program. I think it's good.
Yeah, but even if they go to the Philippines, eventually they want not to live in the Philippines. It's a third world country. They don't want to live there. They want to come back to the States. The reality is it's all up here. They're either going to stop and realize what they've done and what has happened to them, and that the drugs actually had a controlling factor, or they're going to continue. I've seen so many people relapse. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible thing, but I think that people should be educated in schools when they're young to show people and bring ex-addicts in to show them and to tell their stories and say, this is what I did, this is what happened. I lost a leg, I lost this, I got into an automobile accident, I was a drug addict. But then you bring in another section saying, I was a drug addict and I turned my life around. And now I did this, 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 and this. You got to do something because the way society
Well,
is,
let's do that.
it's
Yeah,
going
I
into the
mean,
toilet.
They need a support system. So, like, I know it's a matter of will, but however, you can teach them during the time that they're in treatment that they need a support system, that they're going to continue being in treatment for the rest of their life. That's when you hook them up with the 12 steps and they become part of the group, they start serving so that they have a better chance to maintain their sobriety. So there is a way out. If we get together, and God works in mysterious ways, we get together, we develop a business plan, a non-profit, we can show the community that we're not doing it just to make money, but to help others. Then we go around to Maine and Owens, and we're going to ask people, are you willing to change your life? Because we have a program for you. For the people that are willing to change
Dr.
their life.
Gallego, we have audience here that share something that also help the addiction or mental problem.
Yeah. I relocated here from Maryland, and when I was in Maryland, I do the therapeutic massages. I don't know, doctor, if you believe that, but it's really proven that it can help a lot. Massaging the peripheral nerve can help a lot. There are 101 benefits of the massages. So people, if they're depressed, if they're relaxed, and then you massage the peripheral nerve, it will become better. I actually have like 4 patients that they stop the substances, even the cigarettes.
What are they taking?
They're taking opioids like oxycontins, like for the pain, because you know the only thing that can help actually for the people suffering for pain, because they're addicted of these substances, actually the relaxation massage and detoxification. It will detoxify their body.
It might be help a little bit, but not really if they're already addicted. So I think the best solution that they will be putting in isolation and part away from all these people who care and love them. They should be, like as you said, isolation.
And they need to sign for these treatments. Okay,
Yeah.
6 months to a year. Are you willing to sign? Go ahead and sign. When they're already hungover, all messed up, that's when you want to get them, because now they can sign. But it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of, because they don't only have the substance use disorder, they have depression, they already have anxiety, they're hearing voices, they have schizophrenia, they have psychosis. So we need to work with these dual diagnoses. And yes, we got to give them occupational therapy so that they won't be that bored. We got to teach them music, we got to do massage. All this is a combination, but we got to put them in a place where they're willing to sign in because they want to save their lives. And that's what we need to create. There is a reason why we're talking about this. We need to do something in our hometown, in Las Vegas. And this is a place where, it's full of drugs. So why we don't start here, and then maybe we can transfer these hospitals to all around the United States. And I'm willing to work on it. I'm willing to put all my effort and all my knowledge into this. That's why I developed this therapy that works for any mental health problems, that works deeper into the subconscious mind, much better than any other traditional therapy, because most of the psychologists nowadays, they say that the past is that there's nothing you can do with the past. We actually can change the past. We actually can modify the memories from the past. There's techniques, the memory reconciliation, that's what it does. We take the people out of the memory, we take the feelings away, and then the memory will close without the pain. So I'm willing to put all my knowledge and effort into or an organization, not just because of the money, but to help the community if we get together.
I agree.
Mhm.
I think that's the best brilliant ideas. It's not as ideas because you're already there and Erwin is there, you're there, and I'm here. Let's put it together. I mean,
Yeah, I have friends also that knows how to do that business plan and the nonprofit
let them do
organization.
it, and I just
And
register it.
we
I'll
can
register
prove it that it's for the community, so that the companies are. The thing is that they have a monopoly. Usually the same people get the grants. So we gotta show them, hey, we're in need over here. Your sons could be addicts. It happen in every family. I mean, at least one family has an addict. At least one addict in every family. So everybody's suffering with the crimes, with people overdosing, with depression. 380 people around the world suffering from depression and anxiety. The last statistics of the World Health Association. So people are killing themselves with all these mental health and addiction problems, and nobody's doing anything. And if the government is not doing anything, then we gotta go through the nonprofit organization or the companies that are willing to donate. That's free, and that way we can build up this hospital. I think that's a great idea, and I mean it. I mean
let's
it
talk
to
about
do
the
it.
behind the scene. Can
Okay, well, I think we are at the end of the program. Well, next time I'm going to bring a guest. I already talked to her. It's an 11-year-old who tried to commit suicide many times. Their family put him in the streets, and this girl used to cut herself, and now she's getting much better through my therapy, and she's willing to come to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you very much,
I look forward to
I
talking to you
appreciate
in
it.
the future, in general.
You can come anytime. Thank you, guys. God bless you.